Hello YouTube world, Mac Daddy 1911A1 here with the Shade Tree Survivalist. Just put up a video where I was showing you guys that I had a squib load that jammed a full metal jacket bullet in the barrel of my 45 by 1911 range officer. Got it out, no problem. Now how did I do that without damaging the barrel? Because don't want to do that. You got to have these things lapped in and all that junk to make it function correctly, so it doesn't damage your slide and your frame. First things first, I just went out and I had some of this, I don't know what it is, 1 inch by 1/2 inch wood trim, I reckon you'd call it. I got this out of a house I did demolition in last year, where they had the acoustic tile ceiling, and this is what they had the framework attached to all the way around. I tore this stuff off, and the lady said I could have it, so I brought it home, and man, I've had 1,001 uses with it. I cut it off just maybe 1 inch longer than the barrel. Then between the hammer and a chisel, I just trimmed it down to where it was pretty close to the overall diameter I needed. And, I just laid it up here with the grain of wood, and I tapped it down with the hammer and split off in long strips the pieces I didn't need. And of course it's not going to go perfectly straight, never does, and I just took a razor. You could use a regular old pocket knife and whittle down a piece of wood like this, but you want it just a bit smaller than the barrel, and you stick it in the barrel, and you take the hood right here and you set it on another piece of wood. You don't want to set it on steel, concrete, or anything like that. You'll damage it, okay? And you just set it right on top of the bullet so it doesn't move anymore, and you just take a small hammer, and I used my hand to make sure I didn't touch the barrel, and I just tapped it, and it took a couple of good whacks, popped right out, no problem at all. And here's the culprit. I don't know what the grain of that bullet is, but a friend of ours reloaded these for us, and Uncle Fester brought them up for shade to the Survival Fest 2015, and I didn't ever shoot them all. Crap happens. A lot of people might get upset, blow a gasket. You sorry bastard, I can't believe that happened. It can happen in factory reloads. Factory loads. For whatever reason, the machine didn't dump the powder, and he's probably got a progressive loader. He's probably loading 5 or 6 or 7 at one whack, and it's automatic. It's feeding the primers, it's feeding the cartridges, it's feeding the powder, and it's feeding the bullets. Automatically, he's just pulling the handle. Fast as he can pull the handle, seat the bullets, and it spits out the loaded ones over here on the other end. I have a single stage press, and you got to take them out and all that, but one of the things that they recommend you do after you put the powder in all the cases, you stop and you get you a miniature light, a flashlight, and you look at every single one. I do 5 at a time. Alright, I've already trimmed all the cases, washed all the cases, deprimed all the cases, trimmed them to length, deburred them, chamfered them, the whole works. Then I do all the primers at one time. Then, and I've always got a long gap, and I do 5 at a time. I load 5 of them with powder, and then I put 5, I check them all, then I load 5 bullets, with the press. Set those aside, do 5 more with powder, check them all, then seat the bullets on all of them, set those aside. But even then, even being that meticulous and that careful and that slow, I can do the same damn thing. Alright. So if it ever happens to you and you catch it before it damages the gun, because it didn't hurt the barrel, it was the very last shot, and it went off, and it just was catching the rifling good. It was the tail end of it was still inside the chamber. So instead of trying to drive it down the length of the rifling, I drove it backwards. Okay, so you only had, because it just barely had gotten into the rifling, and I doubt the camera can see it, but it just had etched into the gilding metal. I don't know how well you can see it, but I'll twist it and turn it so maybe you can see it. Yeah, but you can see where the lands were catching it. But anywho, didn't damage the gun, didn't hurt the gun, but I thought maybe it would be helpful for me to show you. Just take a piece of this little bit of wood and made me a dowel. Took that dowel and just tapped it real gently out of there, and the wood will not damage the barrel. And I prevented the hammer from touching the barrel, and I made sure that the hood and the throat of the barrel were on a piece of wood so that it wouldn't bend it or damage it. Alright, it was a light tapping. I wasn't beating the hell out of it with a damn sledgehammer. A little tiny household picture hanging tiny ass hammer. I didn't use no 24-ounce hammer, a framing hammer, or a 48-inch sledgehammer. Okay, hopefully this is helpful. Nothing to making a little wooden dowel. You just got to calm down, slow down, stop. Don't do something stupid with a metal rod where you're going to destroy the bullet and wedge it in there even worse. Alright, just stop. And if it's in a rifle barrel, best take that baby to a gunsmith. But anywho, this is Mac Daddy 1911A1 with the Shade Tree Survivalist. If you have a squib load in your handgun, make your little wooden dowel. Set the barrel on another piece of thick wood. Tap it out with a hammer. Thank you very much for watching. Y'all take care and have a good day. Safe shooting out there, ladies and gentlemen.